A very good evening to you and welcome to tonight's edition of Primetime News on TV1, coming to you live from the Newsfirst studios in Colombo. My name is Krishan Devasagayam.
And I'm Yara Virkon. Let's have a look at your headlines for tonight.
The headlines on Newsfirst.
PTA to be repealed. New law this year, says Justice Minister. Magistrate visits National Hospital to examine Suresh Saleh. Shashindra Rajapaksa and 2 others indicted. 4 arrested after Daranyagala raid. Police officers injured. Lanka Salt General Manager granted bail in corruption case. Global oil market at risk despite reopening of Hormuz. A warning from analysts. ICC Chairman J. Shah arrives in Sri Lanka. Meets President Dissanayaka upon arrival.
And in your top story tonight, the Prevention of Terrorism Act, or the PTA, will be repealed and replaced with a new law within this year. Now, this was a statement made by Minister of Justice, Attorney at Law, Harshana Nayakayara today.
The minister made these remarks in Kilinochi, stating that the draft of the new legislation has already been completed.
We will definitely abolish the existing Prevention of Terrorism Act and introduce a revised law. It is now in its final stage. Once it is presented, you will understand how progressive it is compared to previous governments and how well it protects the rights of the people. This law has been designed purely to prevent terrorism and not to target any race, religion or individual. Others only took time while promising to repeal it. Now we have completed the draft and it is ready to be presented to the Cabinet and Parliament. I believe within the next 2 to 3 months, we will be able to present it. Therefore, the old PTA will definitely be repealed and a new law will be introduced. That will happen within this year.
Minister Harshana Nayakayara made these remarks during a special discussion held this morning at the Kilinochi District Secretariat with civil society representatives and public officials.
The Maligakhanda magistrate today visited the National Hospital to assess the condition of former State Intelligence Chief Suresh Saleh, who is currently under detention orders in connection with the Easter Sunday terror attacks.
Suresh Saleh is presently being held under detention orders issued under the Prevention of Terrorism Act. He has been receiving treatment at the National Hospital for the past 2 weeks. The Maligakhanda magistrate who arrived at the hospital today personally examined Suresh Saleh's condition. Meanwhile, Suresh Saleh's wife also arrived at the National Hospital today and shared her views with the media.
මේ බ්ලඩ් ක්ලොට්ස් ඇවිල්ලා. ඉතින් ඒකට මේ දැන් ඉන්ජෙක්ෂන්ස් ගහනවා ડોක්ටර්ස්ලා ට්‍රීට් කරනවා. ඉන්ජෙක්ෂන් වගේ ගහනවා. ඔව් බඩට ඉන්ජෙක්ෂන් ගහන්නේ අතේ මේ රුධිර කැටි බ්ලඩ් ක්ලොට්ස් ඇවිල්ලා. ඊ ස්කෑන් එක මොන හරි වාදින කරලා මම හිතන්නේ ඒ හින්දා තමයි හොයාගන්න නැත්තේ ඒක. බ්ලඩ් ක්ලොට්ස් තියෙනවා කියලා මොකද අත ආයි හොඳටම ඉදිමිලා. ඒක අතපය වැඩ කරන්නේ නැත්නම් අත වැඩ කරන්නේ නැත්නම් මොකද වෙලා තියෙන්නේ? මම නම් කියන්න අතපය වැඩ කරන්නේ නැහැ කියලා රැඳේම තියලානේ තියෙන්නේ ඉතින් ඒ හින්දා
It is clear that the Rajapaksa administration, which believed that the officials who investigated the Easter attacks were themselves linked to those behind the attacks, removed a large number of those officers. At the same time, victims and all organizations working with victims have consistently called for these officers to be reinstated, as it is essential to properly carry out investigations. This is public knowledge. That is what I have to say. Therefore, those officers who were targeted and victimized are also victims of the Easter attacks. What is most important now is to deploy them in service and bring the killers responsible for the Easter attacks and the political criminals who planned them before the law. What matters is not going back and forth on this issue. What is important is whether Shani Abesekara was removed from these investigations or not, and whether Shani Abesekara is now conducting investigations or not. That is what matters. That crime was committed under the Rajapaksas. The current government under the People's Mandate is using these officers to carry out investigations. I believe that is what is important.
Supporters of Sugishwara Bandara, who is currently in remand custody over allegations of misusing public funds by drawing two salaries and unlawfully using state vehicles, today stated at a media briefing that protests will be held island-wide in his support.
Sugishwara Bandara is the former private secretary to ex-president Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Those who attended the media briefing stated that appointment letters or circulars relating to Sugishwara Bandara are not matters that concern them.
The media briefing was organized under the banner of the New People's Front in support of Sugishwara Bandara, who is currently remanded over allegations of misusing public funds.
We know personally that he is not someone involved in corruption or fraud, but a person with integrity. As members of the Mahasangha, even at this moment, we are conducting Pirit chanting and blessing him.
Sabbitiyo vivajjantu sabbarogo vinassatu mate bhavattvantara sukhi digayuko bhava.
Sugishwara Bandara Mattuma. Yesterday, Sugishwara Bandara was arrested on the street in a manner that reflected state terror, creating fear among politicians and the citizens in a completely undemocratic way. As a political representative, he had participated in discussions with the International Monetary Fund in order to safeguard the country from falling into an economic crisis. Do not take the law into your own hands and act in a terror-like manner. We, as the New People's Front, together with the joint opposition, will soon launch a massive protest movement across the country against what we describe as this government's oppressive actions.
මේ රට ආවරණය වන පරිදි ඒකාබද්ධ විපක්ෂයත් එක්ක එකතු වෙලා අපි දැවැන්ත විරෝධතා ව්‍යාපාරයක් මේ ආණ්ඩුවේ ත්‍රස්තවාදී වැඩපිළිවෙලට විරුද්ධව අපි අරගෙන
Allegations can be made. The matter has been referred to a court of law and it will be decided there. Whether it is two salaries and an allowance or two allowances is a legal matter that will be determined according to public administration circulars. We do not examine appointment letters or circulars related to individuals. Matters relating to salaries or income are not within our concern. Therefore, it is up to the courts to investigate and determine.
These are the comments made by Deputy Minister T.B. Sarath following a program held in Polonnaruwa.
We clearly said from the government side that when this group starts shouting, it is the biggest thieves who are shouting. Every one of them has allegations of theft and fraud. They know that they drew two salaries. Sugishwara is not a child, is he? He was the secretary to former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Therefore, he knows exactly how these acts were done. Because he knows the methods of wrongdoing, he has gathered a few others as well. There is another individual of a similar nature in Polonnaruwa. I saw yesterday when he was being taken in, he was shouting in distress. They know the wrongdoing they have committed. Now those same individuals are shouting that this government is engaging in wrongdoing because thieves know how theft is done. That is why they are shouting. The other point is regarding Dayasiri, who is attempting to form a government. Dayasiri says that while attending press conferences with him, someone followed and apprehended them. Why hold press conferences together with such individuals? If the intention is to build a good government for the people, why stand alongside those accused of doing wrong? Therefore, all these individuals will be arrested in the future. Those arrests will be carried out legally within the framework of the law. It will not be done out of revenge or a personal vendetta against anyone.
A group of civil society activists expressed strong views in Colombo regarding the ongoing investigations into the Easter Sunday attacks as well as the conduct of certain politicians.
All those hirelings working for the Rajapaksa camp are now in panic. 1 week they talk about Saleh's personal matters, another week about his computer, then the next week about his wife and child. In this way, they are trying to dilute this incident in different directions because there is no escape from this. Unlike before, deals cannot be made. Unlike before, the law cannot be bent. And unlike before, they cannot wave their hands at the media, go to prison and later escape. There is no sign that these cases will be dismissed. That is why they are afraid. And that is exactly what should happen. We will not allow even the slightest harm to be done to these investigations. Just because of their past benefits or their dreams of returning to power with the Rajapaksas, no one will be allowed to manipulate this situation. Lies are like a ball held underwater. We broke the political power of that Rajapaksa junta that was holding it down. Their strength and pressure have been reduced. Now they cannot keep it suppressed. It is coming to the surface. When that happens, they will have to go before courts and plead not to be arrested. Because those who once cried about the PTA were told clearly back then, when you are in power, these oppressive laws feel comfortable. But once power slips away and those same laws are enforced, you will be afraid. That is what we are seeing today. Now they are asking for prison cells without rats and mosquitoes. Everyone who goes there experiences the same conditions. It is not a place where comfort exists. For those who operated in air-conditioned rooms, preparing reports and carrying out actions as they pleased, the weight and difficulty of this situation were never felt. But until the real criminals behind this crime are punished, this struggle will not be abandoned.
Who created these systems? It was you. This was not something newly created by Anur Kumara. This is the result of long-standing investigations. Yes, these were suppressed, and it was to suppress them that individuals like Sirasa were brought in. We continuously stated that what was carried out in the name of intelligence was in fact terrorism. Who were recruited? Were they members of the armed forces? No, they were recruited from terrorist groups linked to Pillayan and Karuna Amman. Thousands were brought in and paid. That is where people like Zaharan operated. The dividing line is very clear. It is between the killers and the people. The struggle is between the people and these killers. If these criminals are released, the people will rise. The people of this country will not allow murderers to escape.
The Colombo Permanent Trial at Bar today ordered that further hearing of the case filed by the Attorney General against 9 Army intelligence officers, including the former Giritale Army Camp Commanding Officer Shammi Karunaratne, over the abduction and disappearance of journalist Pragith Ekneligoda and several other related charges, be taken up again on the 26th of June. The case was taken up before the Permanent Trial at Bar bench, comprising presiding judge Nayana Senviratne along with judges Nalin Hevawasam and Lakmali Hevawasam.
When the case was called today, evidence was recorded from 2 prosecution witnesses under the direction of Deputy Solicitor General Vasantha Pereira. The witnesses included Upali Priyantha, a former army officer who had served at the Giritale Army camp, and Sumana Tilaka, a retired police constable. Subsequently, Deputy Solicitor General Vasantha Pereira requested court approval to recall another witness, Suresh Kumar, whose testimony had been recorded prior to the commencement of the trial. The Deputy Solicitor General informed the court that the relevant witness had provided a confidential statement before the Homagama Magistrates Court in 2015 regarding the incident, and later gave a contradictory statement before the Criminal Investigation Department in 2023. He further stated that the witness had made conflicting statements due to alleged threats and pressure exerted by the first accused in the case, former Giritale Army Camp Commanding Officer Shammi Kumararatne. On this basis, the prosecution requested that the witness be recalled to provide further evidence. Counsel for the defense objected to this request, arguing that the said witness was a biased witness. They also informed the court that a separate case related to the alleged intimidation of the witness by Shammi Kumararatne is currently being heard before the Trincomalee Magistrates Court, and that no final determination has yet been made in that case. In light of this background, defense lawyers opposed to recalling the witness in the present proceedings. After considering the submissions made by both parties, the trial at bar bench informed that an order on the request would be delivered on a future date and fixed 26th of June for the continuation of the trial. The Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption today filed indictments before the Colombo High Court against former State Minister Shashindra Rajapaksa and 2 others of alleged irregularities linked to a controversial compensation claim. The case centers on allegations that the accused unlawfully obtained 8.8 million rupees in compensation for damage to a property located in the Savanagal area, which belongs to the Sri Lanka Mahawali Authority. The property, including an unauthorized structure built on the land, was reportedly destroyed during the period of the Arakale protests in the country. According to the indictments, the accused are alleged to have exerted influence on officials of the Office for Reparations to secure compensation for the damaged property. The Bribery Commission has stated that the alleged offences took place over a period spanning from 27th of November 2023 to 29th of May 2024. In addition to Shashindra Rajapaksa, the other two individuals named in the case are Sepalika Saman Kumari, who served as the Acting Director General of the Office for Reparations in Colombo, and Kirti Bandara Kotagama. All three defendants face a total of 10 charges in connection with the case. Prosecutors are expected to present 30 witnesses and 38 pieces of evidence during the trial.
The Colombo Chief Magistrates Court today ordered the release on bail of Lanka Salt Company General Manager R.M. Gunaratne, who was arrested by the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption. The suspect was released on two surety bails of 5 million rupees each.
The Colombo Chief Magistrates Court imposed strict conditions, including a travel ban, and directed that the suspect's passport be surrendered to the court. Lanka Salt Company General Manager R.M. Gunaratne had been taken into custody earlier today and was subsequently produced before the court by investigators. According to submissions made in court, the arrest is connected to a procurement process involving the Hambantota Salt Company, where it is alleged that salt packaging materials were obtained through an order placed without following the proper procurement procedures. Investigators informed court that the irregular transaction resulted in an estimated loss of nearly 14.3 million rupees to the state. It was further alleged that the suspect, through this action, provided an undue advantage to the supplier company, thereby committing an offence under corruption laws. After considering the facts presented, the Chief Magistrate decided to grant bail under the specified conditions.
A special gazette notification has been issued bringing into effect new regulatory controls on import payments from today under the signature of the President in his capacity as Minister of Finance.
Under the new regulations, banks are required to assign a special transaction identification number to every payment made for import transactions. It has also been made mandatory to report all details related to such transactions to the Sri Lanka Customs. Accordingly, banks must provide information including the importer's taxpayer identification number or TIN, the address, beneficiary details, bank and branch codes, payment amount, currency type, payment and delivery terms, payment date, pro forma invoice number, and details of the goods being imported. In addition, it has been made compulsory for importers to be registered with Sri Lanka Customs as qualified importers prior to making any advance payment for goods. Importers who are not registered will not be permitted to make advance payments through commercial banks. The new regulations have been introduced with the objective of improving the monitoring of foreign exchange payments related to imports from Sri Lanka.
The objective of this system is to regulate the need to accurately match import details with the amount of dollars or foreign exchange sent for those imports. The regulations that have been presented will be supported by clear and specific operating guidelines issued by the Import and Export Control Department. These guidelines, along with the necessary instructions, will be provided soon to ensure proper implementation. I would like to emphasize once again that the purpose of this is not to restrict imports in any way, but to strengthen the regulation, organization and monitoring of payments and import activities.
Four individuals who allegedly attacked a group of police officers during a raid in the Hambanagala area of Dharaniyagala have been arrested by police. Police stated that the officers had been assaulted while attempting to carry out a raid following a complaint that drug trafficking activities were taking place at a house in the area.
This morning, the Avisavella Division's Anti-Corruption Unit received information that an ICE drug operation was being conducted from a house in the Hambanagala area in Dharaniyagala. Police said a team acted on the information and proceeded to the location to conduct a raid. This is the situation faced by officers who went in plain clothes to carry out the raid.
ඔය බලාගන්න. මේ කාමරේට ඇදලා දාලා තියෙන ඔක්කොම එකක් නෑර ඇදලා දාලා තියෙනවා. ගහන්නේ මොකක්ද ආපු ගම? අපිට ගැහුවා. ගැහුවේ නැත්නම් මාංචු කරා. පොලිසිය මාංචු කරා චෙක් කරන්න ආවේ. චෙක් කරන්න ආවේ ගැහුව මොකටද? පස්සේ නඩුව ගන්න ගහන්න. මඩු චෙට් එක දෙට්ට ඇවිල්ලා අතින් මඩු දාලා දාන්නද මෙන්න පොලිසිය බලා ගන්න මෙන්න පොලිසිය ඉදාන්න ඈ සර් යන්න දෙන්න බෑ ගයිස් දාන්න මිනිස්සුන්ට තොපි මොක්කුලා තෝ පොලිසිය කියලා මේ
Following the assault, 4 police officers sustained injuries and are currently receiving treatment at the Sirasa hospital. Police stated that 4 suspects involved in the attack have been arrested. Authorities also confirmed that the suspects sustained injuries during the clash and are currently under police protection while receiving treatment at the Darniyagala hospital. 4 police teams have been deployed to conduct further investigations into the incident.
The Upcountry railway line, which was severely affected by Cyclone Ditwa and landslides, is being revived through the hard work of Sri Lanka Railways. As part of this, Sri Lanka Railways states that train services from Nanoe to Badulla will resume tomorrow.
Following the impact of Cyclone Ditwa, railway services to the hill country were severely affected as the Upcountry railway line came under a significant disruption. Train services between Badulla and Ambevela, which had been badly damaged due to the cyclone, were restored on the 20th of December after 23 days of intensive efforts. Following that, services between Badulla and Ambevela continued uninterrupted, and the Nanoe-Badulla train service covering a distance of around 20 kilometers will now resume from tomorrow. The 85-kilometer journey between Nanoe and Badulla will take 3 hours and 15 minutes once the service begins.
We have planned to resume train services from tomorrow after considerable effort. Train services from Badulla to Nanoe will operate at 9 am and from Nanoe to Badulla also at 9 am. In addition, an afternoon train from Badulla will depart at 3 pm towards Nanoe, while another train from Nanoe will depart at 2:30 pm towards Badulla. We have also decided to operate the Alla Odyssey train only on Wednesdays between Badulla and Nanoe.
Meanwhile, the Deputy Minister of Tourism commented on the benefits of resuming these train services for the provincial tourism sector.
An important point to note is that several trains were stranded at Nanoe railway station. With the resumption of services tomorrow, those idle trains can also be put back into operation. In addition, thousands of tourists from Badulla travel to Nanoe station to reach Norelia. Therefore, this will be a valuable opportunity for both the tourism industry and tourists alike.
News First, main sponsor. 2 countries, 2 degrees within 4 years. Call ACBT.
Watch the FIFA World Cup live, where the best football teams in the world compete. Live matches, Rewind TV, highlights, reels. Watch it all for free. Download the Pure mobile app now. Watch the FIFA World Cup live, where the best football teams in the world compete. Live matches, Rewind TV, highlights, reels. Watch it all for free. Download the Pure mobile app now.
Welcome back. A business forum with delegates from Belgium and Luxembourg was held in Colombo today, aimed at strengthening economic ties and exploring new investment opportunities.
A business forum featuring delegates from Belgium and Luxembourg were held in Colombo today, marking a renewed push to strengthen economic and investment ties between Sri Lanka and the European region.
The European Union remains one of Sri Lanka's most important and reliable economic partners, serving as a major export destination, development partners, and source of investment. We currently export apparel, tea, rubber products, and seafood to EU. While these exports remain vital, there is a strong recognition that the future growth must come from diversification into high-value and knowledge-driven sectors.
The Belgolux Sri Lanka Business Council, or BLSBC, is a business platform dedicated to promoting trade, investment, innovation and strategic partnerships between Belgium, Luxembourg, Sri Lanka and the wider European Union.
The global rules have been underpinned decades of economic growth and prosperity are increasingly being questioned. Geopolitical competition is too often pursued through confrontation rather than diplomacy. Supply chains are under pressure and stability has become a scarce resource. Yet history teaches us that periods of disruption can also create new opportunities. Resilience comes not from resisting change, but from embracing it and preparing for the future. This is one reason why I believe Luxembourg and Sri Lanka have many complementary strengths and common interests. In particular, finance remains one of Luxembourg's core areas of expertise, and we believe that we can contribute as a reliable and trusted partner.
Belgium and Sri Lanka established diplomatic relations in 1953. And over the past 7 decades, our relationship has been grounded in a shared commitment to multilateralism, an open and rules-based international order. Earlier this year, our 2 governments held the inaugural round of political consultations in Brussels, and our ministers of transport met for talks. This action on the bilateral front reflects the willingness to deepen and structure our long-standing bilateral partnerships. And in Sri Lanka, there's a huge potential.
And Sri Lankan export performance during 2025, we can see a very significant movement. So we reached 17.3 billion with a 6% growth, so which is our highest export achievement from the merchandising and the services sector. So during last 4-month time period also, despite these global challenges, Sri Lanka export performance more than 6%. The EU is currently Sri Lanka's second largest export destinations, accounting approximately 24% of our total exports, second only the United States.
So this is a big opportunity to Sri Lanka, but when you look at the evolution of the exports of Sri Lanka to the European Union and to the world, they have been quite flat. If you look from 2014 to 2024, they haven't grown much. The growth has been marginal. Sri Lanka has a very narrow basket of products concentrated in a small number of countries within the European. Why is this? And this is where I come to why this is in the hands of Sri Lanka realizing its potential. This is because Sri Lanka has not worked towards diversifying their exports, because this requires attracting foreign investment.
Sri Lanka is not going to be a large-scale manufacturer. Sri Lanka is not going to play in the global product market at scale. What we will be good at is niche. What will be good at is what Europe is asking. You're asking for traceability. You're asking for sustainability. You're asking for high quality. You're asking for premium stuff, right? So that's the demand that's coming from Europe. And it's not easy to get there. We know that. But if we get it right, we will be a prominent player in your journey of sustainable products, journey of sustainable consumerism, sustainable, traceable, fair trade. That is where I think we feel the greatest opportunity lies for us as a country. And in that, we might not have the enough strength to invest in technology, supply chain, and market access. So that is why we invite all of you to be part of it.
The initiative is part of broad efforts to deepen Sri Lanka's engagement with European markets and attract sustainable foreign direct investment.
Now, in the latest development from the conflict in the Middle East, a senior US official has confirmed that Israel and Lebanon's Hezbollah have agreed to a ceasefire.
Meanwhile, despite oil prices starting to cool off in the aftermath, the US and Iran reaching an agreement to end the war, energy analysts warn that it will be months before crude oil markets return to normalcy. Now, Charlene Benedict is ready to bring us more on this.
Thank you very much, Krishan and Viara. The peace deal between the United States and Iran has been making headlines for several weeks now. However, finally there is an agreement. In the most part, the agreement seems to be holding. However, the situation in the Middle East and also the peace deal between the United States and Iran is extremely volatile, to say the very least. One of the main conditions in this peace agreement was the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, and the agreement also included conditions regarding a ceasefire in Lebanon as well. Now, many political analysts are cautious in believing that this agreement would hold for the simple reason that Israel is the country that is conducting a majority of the ground military operations in Lebanon, and the deal, of course, is contingent upon there being a ceasefire and peace in Lebanon as well. However, on the Strait of Hormuz, the Strait of Hormuz is reopened. Naval traffic has begun to flow slowly through the Strait of Hormuz after around 3 months of the strait being closed due to the closure imposed by Iran and also the blockade imposed by the United States. However, energy experts warn that it could be months before the shortages caused by the closure of the Strait of Hormuz be brought back to normalcy due to the extremely high amount of crude oil shortages that it has caused across the globe. Let's now take a look at the latest developments in the Middle East.
US President Donald Trump has hailed the deal with Iran as being better than the deal brokered by former US President Barack Obama in 2015, known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. Trump unilaterally withdrew from that pact during his first term in 2018. But analysts warn it is too soon to determine whether the Memorandum of Understanding will result in a comprehensive deal significantly different from the 18-page Obama-era document, which took several years to negotiate and included nuclear experts. The Wall Street Journal reports that U.S. Deputy Defense Secretary Stephen Feinberg told lawmakers this week that the department needs $80 billion to cover costs of the war on Iran, as well as other non-war related bills. A full U.S. supplemental request, which will include money for the Pentagon, as well as non-defense priorities, could be sent to lawmakers in the coming days, the newspaper said, citing people familiar with the matter. The overall costs of the US-Israel war in Iran remain unclear, but experts have estimated that the conflict could cost the US economy as much as $1 trillion. The Strait of Hormuz is the most essential form of leverage and deterrence Iran has. Iran has been quite clear. The strategic environment in the strait has changed because of the war, and it will never accept the pre-war situation there. Iran is talking about a new maritime regime. Last night, the country's Supreme National Security Council, the highest security apparatus in the country, released a statement saying there will not be tolls in the strait for the next 60 days as per the MOU. However, the council emphasized that any tanker wanting to pass through the strait needs to coordinate with Iran, particularly its maritime body, the Persian Gulf Strait Authority. That administration will provide clearance for passage and set the time and the lanes that vessels can use to pass. The deal between the United States and Iran to end the US-Israel war in Iran has faced fierce opposition from Israel, including Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Israel has continued to bomb Lebanon in what appears to be a violation of the deal formally signed on Wednesday by US President Donald Trump and his Iranian counterpart Masoud Pezeshkian. Trump has expressed his displeasure at the continued Israeli attacks on Lebanon. Netanyahu has to be more responsible in Lebanon, the US president said at the Group of Seven summit in France. Vice President J.D. Vance told reporters that Israeli critics of the Iran deal should be wary of alienating President Donald Trump, particularly given their country's dependency on US military aid.
Number one, Donald J. Trump is the only head of state in the entire world who is sympathetic to the nation of Israel at this moment in time. And he happens to be the head of state of the world's superpower. If I was in the cabinet of the Israeli government, I might not be attacking the only powerful ally that I have anywhere left in the entire world. And the second message I would give to some of those cabinet members, Bibi, to his credit, has not gone down this path, but to some of these cabinet members in Israel who are attacking the President of the United States, the other thing that I would say is that over the last 3 months, 2/3 of the defensive weapons that have protected your homeland have been built by American hands and paid for by American tax dollars. The problem for Israel is not Donald J. Trump. And anybody in Israel who thinks their biggest problem is the President of the United States needs to wake up and smell the reality of the situation that country is in.
However, US President Donald Trump also issued a strong statement regarding Iran, asserting that recent developments were driven by Tehran rather than Washington. In a post shared on his official social media platform, Trump stated that any engagement was not initiated out of necessity from the US side. Instead, he claimed that Iran was acting out of desperation. The Swiss Foreign Ministry has confirmed that talks planned for today between the US and Iran at the Bergenstock mountaintop resort will not take place. The announcement comes after a White House spokesperson said overnight that US Vice President J.D. Vance had pulled out of a planned trip to meet Iranian negotiators in Switzerland on Friday to begin talks on implementing the agreement to end the war.
Weather first.
And in your weather forecast tonight, well, after weeks of heavy showers, the rain seemed to be ceasing slightly, and today was quite sunny and warm, wasn't it?
Yes, well, Krishan, now tonight we cross over to Omit Robicon to bring us the latest weather forecast.
Yes, Viara and Krishan. Now, issuing its daily weather forecast today, the Met Department predicts several spells of showers to occur in western, Sabaragamu and northwestern provinces, as well as in the districts of Gaul, Mathura, Kandy and Nuwara Eliya. Now, showers or thundershowers may occur at several places in the Uva and eastern provinces and in the Mullaitivu district in the afternoon. As always, the general public is requested to take necessary precautions to minimize possible damage caused by temporarily localized strong winds and lightning during thundershowers.
Weather first. Watch the FIFA World Cup live, where the best football teams in the world compete. Live matches, Rewind TV, highlights, reels. Watch it all for free. Download the Pure mobile app now.
The ICC chairman is in Sri Lanka and has met with the president and the Sri Lanka Cricket Transformation Committee.
Well, Omitra brings us more on sports news.
Yes, Viara and Krishan. Now, President Andrew Kumar Desanayake met with Jay Shah, the chairman of the International Cricket Council today. The meeting took place at the Presidential Secretariat this afternoon.
The chairman of the International Cricket Council, Jay Shah, and the secretary of the Board of Control for Cricket in India, Devajit Saikia, met with the leadership of Sri Lanka Cricket. During the meeting, Sri Lanka Cricket provided the ICC chairman and BCCI secretary with a comprehensive update on the steps taken to date to strengthen governance structures and advance the reform process. The delegation was also appraised of the ongoing work relating to constitutional and administrative reforms aimed at ensuring long-term stability and good governance within Sri Lanka Cricket. Importantly, Sri Lanka Cricket shared indicative timelines for the completion of the reform process and the return to governance by a duly elected administration in accordance with the applicable legal and constitutional framework. The ICC delegation was briefed on the milestones achieved thus far and the measures being undertaken to facilitate a smooth and transparent transition. The ICC chairman welcomed the update and reaffirmed the ICC's commitment to supporting its member boards in promoting strong governance, transparency and the continued growth of the game.
Moving on to more sports news now. Sri Lanka's star javelin thrower Rumesh Tharanga is set to compete at the prestigious Doha Diamond League Athletics meet in Qatar today, marking another major appearance on the global stage for the national athlete. Now, the event, which features many of the world's top track and field athletes, will see Tharanga compete in the javelin throw event scheduled to begin at 11:14 p.m. Sri Lanka time tonight. His participation places him among elite international competitors, offering a key opportunity to make an impact at one of athletics' most competitive platforms. Now, meanwhile, in football, co-hosts Mexico have made history by becoming the first team to qualify for the round of 32 at the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Mexico secured their place with a victory over South Korea. And that's a wrap of your primetime news for tonight.
Thank you for watching. Take care, good night, and God bless you.